Yeah.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they do. Ooh, you got something on your chin? Here you go. Thanks. Oh, hey guys, welcome to another one of our live session where we're going to be answering all your questions about traveling in New Zealand, as well as wearing really itchy Santa hats.
For our Christmas special, which is going to be exactly the same as all our other episodes.
Yep, except that we're going to be wearing itchy Santa hats.
Yes.
There you go. All right, so we are the experts of traveling in New Zealand, and we're here to answer all your questions about your upcoming trip to New Zealand or your current trip to New Zealand. Whatever you have for questions for us, we have answers. But why are we the expert, Laura?
Well, we're the team behind NZPocketGuide.com, which is New Zealand's largest travel guide. And by the way, this is Robin and I'm Laura. Nice to meet you. And every single Sunday at 8 a.m. New Zealand time, we do this live Q&A session for you guys to come into the live chat and ask your questions about traveling in New Zealand. Just in case you're not really into sort of browsing through a huge website full of free information, which, by the way, you probably should go on there because all your questions will be answered on there. But if you're more into watching videos and stuff, that's why we do this live Q&A session every single Sunday at 8 a.m. New Zealand time. What are those times around the world, Robin?
Sorry, I'm preparing stuff.
So around the world, that's actually on a Saturday evening in the UK and France around 8 or 9 p.m. In the US, that is on a Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m. EST or 12 p.m. PST. And in India, that's bright and early on a Sunday morning at 12:30 a.m. And in Australia, that is 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning. So
Australia.
In Australia.
So somebody actually made fun of us because we didn't say the word Australia good enough last time.
Oh well, yeah. I do apologize for that.
Australia.
So also throughout the week as well, when you guys have questions on any of our YouTube videos, you put them in the comments and we pull them together so that we can also answer those questions during this live Q&A session. So if you do miss one of these live Q&A sessions and you do have a question, make sure to stick your question in the comments of any of our YouTube videos and we will be sure to get to it on our next Sunday session.
All right. Well, let's check out the live chat, see if anyone has some questions already. Is anyone saying hi? Yes, we have. I don't know my name. I said, I don't know. He say hi. He or she say hi. I love New Zealand. I'd love to move in there. Well, maybe just take a trip first and see if you like it. You know, New Zealand looks awesome on postcards and everything, but will you like it when you get there? Probably. But, you still want to check it out yourself. All right, guys. So while you guys are getting started on giving us some questions, you know that we like to go through those kind of questions. So I think we have a question from Amber Jade Harding, don't we?
Okay, so Amber on YouTube asked, hi again, is my UK driving license okay for my age identification, or do I need to get the access card to avoid taking my passport out of the hostel? Thanks, Amber.
Nice.
All right.
So can you just tell people what the access card is first? Just before we talk about anything, just a quick introduction about what is the access card.
Yeah, so the access card is basically a card that's distributed by the New Zealand hospitality industry organization, which is basically a legal little legal document, a little card with your face on it, like a driver's license, but it's basically for the sole purpose of proving your age for identification. For instance, if you're going to a bar or, if you're buying alcohol at a supermarket, this is basically one of the very few ways, legal ways to actually prove your age in New Zealand.
It's basically the cheapest and easiest piece of ID to get in New Zealand. All right, so New Zealand is actually really strict alcohol-wise. Just to make it really clear, when you go to the supermarket and you're going to want to get yourself a bottle of wine or beer or whatever else you want to get yourself, they will usually ask you for your ID. As long as you look under 25 years old, they will ask, even if they know you, even if you literally been here 4 times this week and they've seen your ID, they usually ask for your ID.
Yeah.
They also very often ask for IDs when you get into a bar or when you're about to order beer at the bar. So they do ask the ID very often. And the first thing that we would like to mention is that your passport always works. But you don't necessarily want to carry your passport on a crazy night out when you're gonna lose it, and all those other kind of things. But the passport is always the safest and the sure bet. Everybody is always going to accept it. Now, as per your driver license from overseas, if your driver license is in English, sometime if they're lenient and feeling in a good day, they may just be like, yeah, okay, cool, that works. If your driver license is not in English, they won't accept it at all. Now, it is not an obligation. It's actually not legal to accept your overseas driver license. Even if you're from the UK, which has a very similar driver license than New Zealand, legally, they do not have to accept your driver license, and they can definitely turn you down. If they have an ounce of a doubt and you do not have a New Zealand piece of ID or an international passport, they definitely are well within their right to say no to you. Now, the reason why they would say no to you is not necessarily because they're going to be mean or because they don't want you to have a good time. They usually say no because if they are caught serving alcohol to people which are underage, if anything went wrong, if there is a police check, which does happen, especially around Auckland, they will actually be liable for fines, which amounts to many thousands of dollars. And the person that serves you the alcohol also get a personal fine. So it's not just the bar, it's the bar and the worker. So they're definitely well within their rights to say no. Now, so in short, your overseas driver license, technically it's no. Sometimes that's very rare. They may accept it. Passport always works. Now, the international... the Kiwi Access card, that's the name of this piece of ID, is very easy to get. It only costs $55, so that may make your life very easy here in New Zealand. And the other solution would be to get a New Zealand driver license. If you plan on staying here for more than 12 months, that may be a really good idea, and we have some other videos about that. So just type New Zealand driver license and then NZ Pocket Guide on YouTube or even on Google, and you'll find our written article or videos. Now, if you decide that the Kiwi Access card is the right thing for you, it's actually quite easy to get.
Yeah. So first of all, you need to go to a New Zealand post shop, which is basically the post offices that you see in all the towns and cities around New Zealand. And there they have the Kiwi what's the name of this thing now? Kiwi Access Card application form. The name has changed about 5 times over the past 3 years.
There used to be Hands 18 Plus card. If you ever read about the Hands 18 Plus card, that's the same thing.
Yeah. So yeah, the Kiwi Access Card, there's application forms at New Zealand post shops. So you just go there and make sure that you bring along with you a current ID, like your passport, for instance. That would probably be the most appropriate thing for most people that are traveling to New Zealand. You also need to have $55 available, because that's the fee for paying, and you can pay that with a debit card, or you can pay by cash. And you're going to need some passport size photos, which you can actually get taken at the post office as well, just to make sure they are the correct size for the application.
If you get them taken at the post office, it's about $20.
Yeah. Or you can sort of work it out yourself, but you do need to sort of go onto the Kiwi Access Card website and make sure you check the right dimensions for the photos that you're going to be including in your application. So when you go to the post office, you will pick up an application. You'll attach your 2 passport photo or passport-sized photos, and you will also need to have a proof of address, which is obviously a little bit tricky for some people traveling in New Zealand. It does need to be a New Zealand postal address that you put on the application, and you also need to have a proof of that address. So mostly this is usually a lot easier to do if you've actually settled somewhere and you're staying in like a flat share or something. Maybe you've just started working somewhere. That's usually a good way to go about it. But if you want to get the Kiwi Access card, before you actually do all that, then another way to go about it is to, if you're staying at a hostel for a couple of weeks or something like that, you can ask their permission to use their address, for instance. And for the proof of address, well, you need to put a proof of address on your bank account or for your
when you open a bank account. So no matter what, you will have one.
Yeah. So when you open a New Zealand bank bank account, you'll also have to have a proof of address on that at some point. And if you just print out a bank statement or get a bank statement from your bank, which is usually the best way to go about it to make sure that it is, a legal proof of address. If you get the bank to actually print out a bank statement for you with your address on, that is what you need to also attach to your Kiwi Access Card application. And you will also need an original photo ID, like I said. So usually the best thing for that is your passport. And
that is it.
That's about it. Yeah. And your $55 application fee.
So so getting a Kiwi Access card when you travel around New Zealand is pretty handy. Plus, it's a really awesome souvenirs to bring back home. So we think that that's the best way to approach going out in New Zealand, so you don't fear losing your passport, and you get a nice piece of ID to frame back in your bedroom when you dream about New Zealand. Forget about the pictures. Use the little ID card, right? Nobody cares about your picture of you in Milford Sound. The little Kiwi Access card.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was a joke. If you guys find this useful, make sure to like. If you are new here, make sure to subscribe. We do those kind of videos all the time, and hitting the like button is the like button is always like a really good way to say thank you for all our hard work. So it means a lot to us. And in the meantime, I'll go back to the live chat. All right, what's happening here? Good morning, Rosso, Hassan, Brian, Magda. I'm going to read every single comment. Let's go through that. Rosso Rose says, can I walk the Rootburn track in 2 days?
You can if you definitely can if you are fit and you can walk fast.
Yeah.
To be fair, I've managed to do half the Rootburn track, in and back in 1 day. So it is short compared to the other great walks in New Zealand, but obviously we can't give you the appropriate advice because we don't know your fitness and we don't know what you can handle and stuff. So it's like if you are at the peak of fitness and you are a fast walker, then certainly you can.
I know what you say. So I kind of almost did it, but my peak at fitness right here.
Yeah.
Isn't some slight bragging right here?
Yeah, I was like, well, I'm pretty damn fit, so I could do it, but yeah.
So definitely it will be kind of a challenge, but I think that it's definitely doable if you're in really good shape. If you're not in really good shape, you may want to also take your time. And even if you're in really good shape, but you also want to enjoy yourself and really kind of take it in. I personally like to walk a little bit slower. I'm not unfit. I just like to walk slower because I want to know that I can just stop and check out the birds and doing this and doing that. So and take some pictures and stuff. So it really depends.
Yeah.
Hassan Solati Mogadam says, hello, can you compare Auckland with Australia's cities such as Brisbane and Perth for living? Neither Laura and I have lived in Brisbane or Perth, so we can't really help. It is more expensive than Sydney. I lived in Sydney for a little while. It is definitely more expensive than Sydney, but it's just a better kind of lifestyle here. Everything is a bit on a slower pace. Everything is a little bit smaller. It's less about the really big roads and more about the park, the reserves, and the hikes. So that's more kind of what I can give you. The public transport is way worse. That's one of the point that I did personally notice. But I haven't been living in Brisbane and Perth, so can't really help. Brian Sanders says, hello, Kiwis. Could you guide something on immigration process? So, Brian, in New Zealand, there is a law that says that you can only provide immigration advice if you are a registered immigration advisor, which we are not. So, sadly, we cannot give you specific immigration advice. We can only do those very generic videos that we already have on the channel. So, if you want to know more about, the different kind of visas which are available, as well as more about the working holiday visa, you're definitely more than welcome to check out those videos. As per kind of answering you personal questions, we actually legally do not have the right to do that. And we don't feel like spending Christmas in jail. So what about we don't? Magda 1988G says, hi, would you know if woofing counts toward your 3 months visa extension? So woofing, if it's declared woofing work, meaning that, there is taxes involved and all those kind of things, which, it should be how it's done. Then at that point, if it's a qualified work, so if the work that you provide in exchange for your food and accommodation is a work which qualifies for the extension, because you probably seen the article that we have on this or the video that we have on this, and we list what are the jobs that actually qualify. So if that is the case, then it may in certain conditions do. So at that point, you have to call Immigration New Zealand for that. But the general rule, and usually how it works with roofing, and we kind of know also what happens down to earth, absolutely not. It's highly unlikely that even your host will go through the whole legal process anyway. In all honesty, that's the reality on the ground compared to what's it on the paperwork. So it won't work. You have to have the qualified work that you can show all the pay slips, and you can have letters from the employers and all of that.
Yeah.
Giri Sebesta. I'm sorry about destroying your name. Hello, is there a biosecurity check when transferring on domestic flight after international flight, Auckland to Christchurch? Thanks. So you won't have one with your domestic flight, but when you're going to arrive in Auckland, you will go through biosecurity.
Yeah, so if you've just arrived in Auckland from an international flight, then you will need to go through the biosecurity checks, which I'm sure you're already aware of because you're asking the question. But that's basically where you need to declare what you've packed in your bags. You need to, they take your luggage and put it through X-ray machines, for instance, and they might have some dogs, sniffer dogs, making it like checking baggage and stuff to make sure that you aren't bringing in any food, for instance, or anything, any dirty like camping or hiking gear, for instance. There's a whole long list, and we do have a full video on this channel sort of outlining what you need to declare. And we also have information on NZ Pocket Guide as well, so you can see what you need to declare there. But basically, that only happens when you first arrive in New Zealand on an international flight. Moving on to a domestic flight, you only have your sort of standard plane security checks where you need to put your carry-on luggage through. I think they still do that, right? They put the carry-on luggage through the X-ray, but that's but that's only at Auckland Airport. I don't even think they do that at some of the airports. They don't even do that. But at Auckland Airport, they may do like your standard security check before boarding the plane. But that's about it. Yeah, so that biosecurity check only happens straight after your international flight.
All right. I hope that answers your question, Jiri. If it does, and if we answer any of your questions, guys, be cool and just hit the like button. That'd be lovely to say thank you to us. Kenneth Reed has a question for you, Laura. He says, is it possible to see penguins in March?
I believe it is possible to see penguins all year round in New Zealand. Like, we've traveled throughout New Zealand, like all throughout the years, and there's sometimes better times to see penguins, but there are penguins around, all year round.
Especially the little blue penguins that you'll be able to see all year round in places like Oamaru, Dunedin.
Yep, and the Banks Peninsula, which is near Christchurch.
There you go.
In the Catlins as well. The Catlins, for seeing penguins in the Catlins, for instance, it's usually better to see them in summer. So there is times, obviously, like I say, that there are like maybe more abundance of penguins.
I think March is still okay. It's still summer-ish in New Zealand.
Yeah, so basically, in short, yes, you can definitely still see penguins in March.
Brian Sanders is asking, what is the best city to live?
That really, I guess, depends on personal preference.
But you've got to pick one, so go for it, pick one.
City, I don't even like cities.
I say Nelson, highest amount of sun hours in the year. Here you go. I like Nelson.
How about something like Hokitika? Is that classed as a city?
Nah, I think it's a town, but it's a really cool town. Yeah. It's the coolest little town. So Hokitika is really cool as well. Why in the world say, I made it. I'm here. Good morning. Good morning. Why? How are you doing?
Feels like it's been a long time since I've seen Why in the world. Yeah.
He just sent us a message last week, actually. But we haven't heard from you for like months.
Yeah.
He just came to say Merry Christmas, I'm pretty sure. Merry Christmas, Y2J. Yay. Okay, Hassan Solati says, thank for your response. Can you also quickly compare Sydney with Auckland for living too? Well, as I just mentioned, the public transport in cities are better. The lifestyle in Auckland is better. I think the cost of living compared to all the money you're going to be earning, you're going to be much better off in Australia. In New Zealand, you earn little money and the rent and everything is very high. But the amount of things to do and everything, you're going to be much better off in New Zealand. There's so much more outdoors and everything to explore. Traffic-wise, you're going to be better off in Sydney. In Sydney, they sorted out the traffic already. In Auckland, they're still trying to figure it out, and there is a lot of congestion. Work-wise, you're going to find a job easier in Sydney than in Auckland because there is a lot of competition in Auckland. However, New Zealand is better overall than Australia. You just have to get out of Auckland. Auckland is definitely not the place to spend time to in New Zealand. And you'll find out when watching some of our videos that we always recommend people to spend time outside of Auckland. As per water transport, I think that Auckland has better water transport than Sydney has. It's basically all I have for you right now. Supermarket food is always cheaper in Australia than it is in New Zealand, but that's quite famous. Magda, give me a thumbs up. Yay.
Woo.
Jiwi gives you a thumbs up. Yay. Brian gives us both a smiley face. Yeah. Y2J say, question, do you think the government will ever let people walk on White Island again in the future? I have no idea. I'm not in charge of policies or anything like that.
No.
I wouldn't have a guess.
Yeah. I mean,
maybe yes, maybe no.
I guess the government's more reactive than proactive, so they may change them. They usually like to change things after incidents occur. So
maybe no.
So maybe they'll not.
No, I don't know.
But maybe they will. Who knows?
Yeah, no idea.
We're not really politicians, are we?
No, we don't. Yeah, we don't have an opinion on that, to be honest. All right, cool. So while you guys are getting warmed up with some more questions for us, what about we go through another question of one of our readers?
Yeah.
Would you like to read it?
Sure.
All right.
So Kajani Vidal asked, thanks for creating all your awesome videos. Definitely helps me a lot. This 21st, we're going to Tongariro and staying there for 3 days, 2 nights. In Taupo for another 3 days and 2 nights. We are doing the Tongariro Alpine Crossing and driving to another spot along the way between Wellington and Tongariro. But keen to hear from you guys where else we can drive and visit. Thank you so much.
It's actually a question that we get quite often, like this road from Tongariro down to Wellington. It looks like there is very little right here, but in fact, there is quite a lot. And it's something that you can either allocate a few days to kind of explore, or even just along the way. There is quite a few pit stops there. So, for example, there is the Army Museum there, actually, alongside the way. I actually just remember. It's not on the list, but I just remember that.
In Wairau.
In Wairau, there is the New Zealand Army Museum, which is kind of a smallish museum, but it's quite interesting. And we do have a video about it. You can see some tanks. You can see some displays from battle that New Zealand was part of, from World War I, World War II, and Gallipoli War, all those kind of things. So there is that. It's not on our list.
Yeah, I just thought of another thing that wasn't on the list as well, which is the River Valley, which it's near the town of Taihape. And this is a really cool sort of adventure lodge. You can go there to do horse riding. You can go there to do whitewater rafting. There's a few short walks and stuff there to do as well. And if you actually have time on your drive, basically to spend a couple of days, like you drive, stay there overnight, and then continue your drive up to Tongariro, that would be a really cool place to go to as well. And
everything that we just mentioned right now, we actually have videos about it on these channels. Just check them out. So there is also the Te Awamutu wind farm, which is a cool pit stop. You can just go and check out a lot of windmills and see how New Zealand produces its amazing green energy.
Te Apiti.
Te Apiti. Sorry. Te Apiti wind farm. T-E-N-A-A-P-I-T-I. Te Apiti. Sorry about that.
Yeah. And that is actually near Manawatu Gorge, which again is another really cool place in itself. It's this beautiful river gorge, which has quite a few walking trails around there. So if you want to it's a good pit stop to actually, stop your car, have a picnic at the picnic areas that are around there, and then actually go stretch your legs, walking through some really amazing forest and getting to a few really cool viewpoints where you can look at Manawatu Gorge. And there's also a really cool Maori sculpture up there as well. There's this big sort of steel sculpture of a Maori warrior. So that's a really cool thing to check out too.
There is also a town not too far from there. What's this big town? A city even?
Yeah, so Palmerston North is nearby as well. So if you need to pick up supplies or anything, or they have quite a cool sort of central park there as well. Quite a lot of nice eateries. So if you're looking for a lunch stop, that's a really cool place to go too.
And they also have a rugby museum. New Zealand is world famous for all its rugby and its passion for rugby. So definitely worth checking out this museum. It's run by absolutely passionate people. It's quite amazing. And same thing, we have videos about everything we're talking about right here. Then there is also the Tui Brewery, where they make the Tui beer, which is iconic here in New Zealand. We don't recommend that as a pit stop when driving along, just because it's alcohol, but it's definitely worth checking out if you can. And just even if you don't do the visit, take a picture of the building. It's really iconic. Well, this is along the way, a very famous beach, isn't it?
Yes, so you can go to Foxton Beach, which is probably most famous for its windsurfing and its windboarding. So over there is a company called Wind Warriors, if I remember the name right. They're really cool. So if you want to try something quite unique, a kind of really cool sport to try out, they give you lessons on how to do kiteboarding or kite surfing if it's a warmer day and you want to actually get in the water. And so they can basically teach you how to do it in about half an hour, and then you're off down this really long beach doing some kiteboarding, which is really awesome. We also have a video about that as well. So
in which I actually smashed my face pretty beautifully when doing windland surfing, whatever. So definitely worth checking out this video if you want to, see me smash my face on the ground. Face plant. All right, and then keep on going down as well. There is a really cool area to explore with a beautiful lighthouse. There is a seal colony. It's a bit of a detour. There is also some pinnacles. There's a bit of a detour, but it's definitely worth exploring.
Yeah, so this whole region that Robin's talking about is called the Wairarapa. So what you can do from Wellington is there is a little bit of a you basically head east and go towards where there's the Cape Palliser lighthouse. There's the Tongariro pinnacles. Then you can head north where you can pass through vineyards and this amazing wine region, maybe stop for a bit of wine tasting along the way, maybe for the passenger, not the one driving. And
While we keep on suggesting road trip and alcohol together.
There seems to be a lot of alcohol-related activities in New Zealand, so it doesn't always couple well with road tripping. But, if you're a proper wine connoisseur, then, you don't swallow the wine, obviously. You don't drink it, you spit it out. Anyway, so after you've done a bit of wine tasting, you can then actually cross back to the right side of the mountains where you want to be, over Manawatu Gorge, which I was just talking about like a couple of points before this one. And there you can do all your pit stop for your walks and stuff like that, and then pass through Palmerston North and then head north.
Here you go. So that's all the places that we suggest you stop along the way between Tongariro all the way down to Wellington. What?
Oh, it's just you missed the most important one out.
Which one?
Turangi.
Oh, that's where the Tongariro is. So you're going to be probably based there. There's a lot of really awesome walks to do around. And you got some amazing views on Lake
Whitewater rafting as well. If you want to do whitewater rafting on the Tongariro River, that is also an option, which is pretty cool.
All right, so that's all the places that we think you should stop at between Tongariro all the way down to Wellington. There's plenty to do here, and a lot of people kind of drive a little too fast. So here you go, explore this one. And if you do find that useful, make sure to like this video, because it's a good way to say thank you for all the hard work. Plus, it's free for you and it helps us. So yay. And also subscribe if you're new here. All right, let's go back to the live chat. All right, Rosso, Hassan, Y2J, Victor, Kenneth, Adriana, and Brian. I'm going to answer all your questions. I mean, we're going to answer all your questions. Let's get started. Rosoro says, North Island or South Island for tramping? I'd say South Island. There's all this lush bush. There's beautiful alpine landscape as well. So you can have some really various tramping. And if you want some really unique tramping, maybe head towards Stewart Island, which has amazing tramping tracks, really fantastic. And you can get lost in the New Zealand native bush for like 8-9 days if you want, or you can just do it for 2 or 3 days. We have amazing videos about those on the channel as well, so check them out. But definitely South Island, I think, is a no-brainer. And if you can, head all the way down to Stewart Islands. Definitely worth checking out, especially if you're really fan of tramping. I remember that German girl we met when we were doing this tramping.
She was doing it for 10 days.
Yeah, she was doing it for 10 days, and she had the biggest smile. She loved every second of it. That was fantastic. Oh man, she was just so contagious. That was amazing. Anyway, so here you go. That's our recommendation. As Hassan Solati says, thank you, I think. Y2J was also agreeing with us, Southland, for the previous question. Now, Victor Bergman says, what is the minimum time you could work for an employer before you can travel further? There is no minimum.
Yeah.
You can work for as long as you want. We usually say, like, stay for, like, between 1 month and 3 months. But it also depends what kind of job you're doing. Sometimes you do something really seasonal, like picking, and then the employer is going to tell you that's the end of the season. Bye-bye. Yeah. So there is absolutely no minimum. You can really do what you want here. What we suggest is to quit the right way. And actually, if you go on nzpocketguide.com and you type in the search bar, you type quitting, we actually have tips on how to quit your job. It's just the best way to kind of do it, and don't build yourself a bad reputation around the country, as well as also be able to use all this experience in your future endeavor. So as long as you quit the right way, quit as often as you can. Like, honestly, try a lot of different jobs. That's what the gap year is all about.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. Brian Sanders says, how often do earthquakes happen? Have you ever felt one, even a minor one? If earthquakes don't happen, then are there any other natural calamities to worry about? Brian, you're stressing too much. So how often do earthquakes happen in New Zealand? Daily. You just mostly don't feel them. New Zealand is in between tectonic plates, so they move and earthquake happen. So there is an app called GeoNet that you can actually download on your phone. It will tell you how often earthquake happened. Where we live, they actually happen really often. We just never feel them. We have felt some sometimes, and it's just a bit of a jolt, and you just do exactly what you've been told to do, which is, and I know this one, you stop, drop, and cover, and then you hold. That's what you do. Not what I said last time.
Not stop, drop, and roll. That's for fire. Don't want to get those two mixed up.
I made a mistake in one of the video, and then Laura keeps on mocking me. But yeah, so you just do that, and seriously, it's totally fine. Most of the houses in New Zealand are made of wood. They're pretty flimsy anyway, so if it falls on you, you're not going to get hurt.
It'll break on top of you.
Exactly, so it'll be fine. No, but in all seriousness, you talk about like calamities and earthquake and everything in New Zealand, and yes, when they happen, they make world news and people talk about it, and that's all they talk about New Zealand for. But they happen so rarely. I mean, that's the thing. You probably heard about the Christchurch earthquake, but that was 10 years ago, and you heard about that one volcano, but it didn't happen for 150 years before that. So it's okay. There is a risk inherent in living on planet Earth anyway. New Zealand is very safe for what it is, okay? And even when those calamities do happen, usually the casualties are very minimal because New Zealand is very well prepared for it. So I hope that answers your question. I think it was extensive, but I hope that this reassures you, Brian.
And if you do need more reassurance, we do have an article on nzpocketguide.com, which is, if you just search earthquakes in our website, you can read more about the subject.
So definitely check it out. Actually, Laura done a lot of research for that, so you'll be able to get a lot of stats and everything. Kenneth says, what is better, a tour to Milford Sound or drive yourself from Queenstown? Definitely a tour. I think you're going to get to enjoy the views much more. You actually just, get to rest along the way as well. There is a lot of pit stop, and I know which one are the pit stop which are worth it. And you don't just stress yourself, drive, and just don't enjoy the view and everything. Definitely take a tour. I cannot stress that enough. I think we've mentioned that in every single one of our Milford Sound video.
Yeah, I mean, if you only have one day to travel between Queenstown to Milford Sound, then usually the tour is the sort of, the stress-free, easy way to go about it. You actually still get to do quite a lot of stops along the way and see loads of different stuff. And you don't need to worry about, directions or worry about driving what's quite a winding road to get to Queenstown. You are going through mountains and quite a, I guess, scary environment for some drivers. But if you actually do have a lot of time to get between Queenstown and Milford Sounds, there could be reasons to drive yourself. If you are going to take it easy, take it slowly, maybe drive from Queenstown to Te Anau, stay in Te Anau, which is the town between Queenstown or Milford Sound. Then you can slowly make your way to Milford Sound. You can even book yourself into some accommodation there, only if you book really far in advance, because there is very limited accommodation there. And you can just like casually do a few walks and stuff along the way. So if you have lots of time to do that, then that's definitely a nice way to do things and to actually embrace more of where you're going. But if you only have the one day, then usually a tour's a better way to go.
What she said. All right. Y2J is elaborating a little bit on the earthquake. He also talks about rain and landslide. It does happen a lot in New Zealand. We don't really think it's like a calamity. Yes, there are some landslide, and when that happens, you know, the media says, "Oh, tourists are stranded in the hill or there." You usually have to stay somewhere for an extra couple of days, and there's many things to do there, so it's fine. We personally really not worried with that. You know, it's something that you deal with all the time, and it's pretty much okay.
Yeah.
It's just the current media landscape is making a drama out of anything that could ever happen. So it's definitely not something to be worried about.
Yeah.
Adriana Camilo says hi.
Hi.
Are there any opportunities to experience Maori culture on the South Island?
There is a Maori tour in Kaikoura, which is pretty cool. They take you through some of the native forests and tell you a little bit about maybe some of the like myths and legends and how maybe the Maori used to use certain plants and stuff found in New Zealand. So that's an option there. In the South Island in Queenstown, they do a bit of a Maori show, like a cultural performance at the top of the gondola. So you can, that's in Queenstown.
Near Christchurch, there is reserve, the Willow Bank.
Yes, right? And also at Christchurch, there's the Willow Bank sort of wildlife reserve there. They have a little bit of a sort of wildlife conservation park, but also part of that is this sort of like Maori tourist center. So you can go there and experience a cultural show, but also experience a hangi, which is a traditional sort of method of cooking in the Maori culture where they slow cook food in an underground oven. And you get to experience that and taste the nice tender goodness that they make out of that, which is always really nice.
Nice. All right. Brian says, seems like a place I'd love to live my life. We'll definitely check it out. Cool. Check out also nzpocketguy.com with heaps of more information about all that. Magda says, is there interviewing for picking job? No, usually. If you are an able body with 2 arms and 2 legs, usually say, okay, I need your help now. Employers are very desperate for employees around the picking seasons in New Zealand. There is just not enough people to pick all the fruits which are available. So they will pretty much take anyone. So no, there is no interview. For like other kind of jobs, there may be an interview, but
usually it's just like, when can you start?
The interview is like, can you get there on time? And that's basically it. Y2J actually says, did you guys ever scuba dive for crayfish or free dive for power for your gap year? No, we haven't done any of that. We've done a lot of scuba diving, and we've done a lot of snorkeling around the world and everything, but we didn't do any free dive or anything like that. Just because we like to stare at things rather than collect things, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
Amber Jade Harding. Hey, Amber, we actually just answered one of your questions about, what was it about?
Oh, it was about the access card, the Kiwi access card.
If you're just showing up right now, you're going to have to rewind the video because we did answer your question not that long ago. Now she said, good evening from England. How do you say good evening in English in England? How are they?
Evening.
Evening, lass. Evening, lass. Can you recommend anywhere to stay near the airport in Auckland the night before an early morning flight? Thanks, Amber. Okay, so if you want to use Airbnb, there's not that many Airbnb which are going to be close enough. They're usually all about 20-minute drive, but there are some airport kind of hotels there. There is the Kiwi Airport Hotel. And
the Novotel, if you're fancying a bit of luxury.
Yeah. So if you want something close, the thing is, there will not be that much budget options if you want to be really close to it. However, there is a guy, I don't have his contact detail right now, but they're on the website, on our website. But there is a guy that does a backpacker shuttle, which is only $20. And so he will take you anywhere you need to be and drop you back off. So if you can arrange something here, that's actually quite cheap, and that's a good way for you to be able to stay a little bit further away. But yeah, Novotel is literally the closest thing you can find from the airport. It's going to be a little bit more expensive than usual, but it's going to be literally right there, and you can just walk off and go straight away to the plane, which may be the best way to do it, because then I just have, you just wake up, have your breakfast, and get there. And sometimes it's worth spending an extra. Like, it's probably going to be an extra $50 compared to a cheap
motel,
cheap motel or something. So I think that may be worth doing just for the convenience of the location.
Otherwise, there are sort of airport motels, which they're definitely not in walking distance. You do have to get transport to get to them, and lots of these sort of airport motels, and I think there's even a Kiwi airport backpackers. I'm not 100% sure if they're still around. So they usually offer airport shuttles, but you do need to sort of double check with them what times they offer the shuttles. Maybe if you've got an early morning flight that's really, 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 really early, then perhaps they won't offer that service. But it's always worth checking if they, because some of them actually do offer those shuttles, which is another way to maybe go about it.
There you go. Cool. So what else is on the Magda is laughing at my face. Why are you laughing at my? Is it because I'm wearing an itchy Santa hat that you're laughing, Magda? Adriana says, thank you. You're welcome. Brian says, best food you'd recommend. Oh, there's really a ton. Actually, we have a video. We actually have a video which is without Laura. Wait, that's exciting. That's exciting.
Without me?
Yes. So one time, Laura kind of left me to my own devices. She left me to my own devices, and I was alone. So I called a mate of mine, and I did this live session with a mate of mine called Leo. And someone asked us our favorite food, and so we went crazy. I think we went like 15 foods each, and we sort of tell you everything about all the food that we like. So if you go on our YouTube channel and just type food, you're gonna see this video where we talk about so many of them. We talk about the Whitaker's chocolate, which is amazing. We talk about the pavlova. We talk about the kiwi burgers, which has beetroot and eggs in it. We talk about fried power. We talk about crayfish. We talk about kumara.
Pies?
We talk about
pies?
Kiwi pies. We talk about all those things. So yeah, check out this video. There's really a lot to try, and I already gave you like about 20. Hockey Pokey ice cream is really amazing as well. LNP as a soft drink is really delicious, and it's typically kiwi. Deep fried kiwi food from Eric's Fish and Chips in Queenstown is really amazing. Look at my face when I start talking about food. Yum, yum, yum. So,
your Christmas hat just went.
So Brian, yes, plenty of really amazing food to try. Amber Jade Harding says, yes, just caught up. I will rewatch later. Thank you. You are very welcome. Y2J says his favorite food is bluff oyster in season in autumn and winter, or Waiheke Island oyster all year round. I'm not a big fan of oyster. It's too jelly, and it's just I'm not a big fan of oyster.
Yeah, I guess I've tried every time I have tried it. I just thought they're just really salty.
Yeah.
So I feel like I can't actually taste what the meat.
I don't think my palate is mature enough. I'm really more into Jaffa, for example. Jaffa is a really New Zealand kind of a hard candy, sweet, really delicious. But yeah, no, I'm not. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of oysters. But hey, to each his own. I drink the wine, you eat the oyster. That's fine by me. Y2J. What about that? Okay, Brian says cool. Now Jennifer Alici says, I'm heading to New Zealand in May and flying to and from Auckland. I will have 3 weeks on both islands. I'm really into adventures activities. Wondering what are your must activities on both islands? Maybe a top 5 list. Okay, so should we take them up? Should we do that fully?
Adventure activities.
Yeah. All right.
Where are all the pens?
Here. Okay. So Jennifer Alice on YouTube says, I'm heading to New Zealand in May and flying to and from Auckland. I will have 3 weeks on both islands, and I'm really into adventure activities. Wondering what are your must-do activities on both islands? Maybe 5 on each. All right. So, what about all right for a change?
Yeah.
Here you go. So adventure activity. Just going to talk about adventure, something that gets your heart pumping during this video. And we're going to start in Auckland right here, where there is the massive Sky Tower. Now, the Sky Tower is New Zealand's tallest building, and actually one of the tallest building in the Southern Hemisphere. One of the, not the, but one of the. And in there, you can do a couple of things. You can do the sky jump, which is basically jumping from the tower and going all the way down. It's okay. It's a bit scary-ish, but you can do the sky walk when you walk all around the top of the Sky Tower. Now, the skywalk is really scary because you are up high for a very long time. If you watch the video of us doing that, I am not having fun. I am terrified. I hate heights. I'm really, really scared of heights. And the views from the top are fantastic, but damn, it's high and damn, it's scary. So that would be my first one on the North Island.
So for me, I would go to, well, somewhere near Napier, which is around here. To the Mohaka River. There's a really cool whitewater rafting river there. You can do either a grade 3 trip, which is sort of like, if you're not into like, wetting your pants, scary stuff, then a grade 3 trip is really good. Otherwise, they do a grade 5 trip, which is like, whoa, like that's the hardcore whitewater rafting. And that river itself is really awesome because you can actually see seashells fossilized into the river canyon around you. There's lots of opportunity to like stop and get out of the raft along the way to go and check out like old mining tunnels and interesting things like that. And yeah, and obviously the rafting itself is pretty awesome.
Yeah. All right, so right here in the middle, there is Lake Taupo, and right here, there is a beautiful Tongariro volcano. It's fantastic. It's Mordor in the Lord of the Rings. The views are fantastic. New Zealand's largest lake, the dark volcano. And from Taupo, you can actually do the cheapest skydive in the country. And skydiving is pretty much up there when it comes to adrenaline stuff. I'm scared of heights. I don't like height, but damn, I love skydiving. It's such a good adrenaline rush. Your brain doesn't really understand the height too much. Plus, someone is attached to you and push you out of the plane anyway, so you don't really have a choice. It's really fantastic, and it's really awesome. So in Taupo right here, with the views up of the volcanoes, really awesome to do a skydive. If you're in Taupo for a wee while, there is some whitewater rafting to do, but they're really kind of mellow. And there is actually also a bungee in a canyon, which is quite awesome. So the Taupo bungee is also worth checking. But I'm just going to go just for Taupo altogether.
Yeah.
What else do you pick?
I think I'm going to go for Rotorua for some adventure activities. Map's a little bit off and going crazy.
Are you mocking me?
Yeah, this is a little bit too central, Robin.
Okay, so sorry.
So yeah, Rotorua, there's lots of quite sort of, interesting adventure activities there. There's a place called, are they still called Agro Ventures?
No, Velocity Valley.
Velocity Valley, that's it. So this is like an adventure theme park, but it's more like an extreme adventure theme park. You could do bungee jumping there. You can do jet boating in probably one of the fastest jet boats we've been in. You can do sort of free falling on a sort of air cushion thing. It's like a free falling experience without skydiving. You can also do Schweeb, which is a very bizarre sort of thing where you...
Just watch the video of us doing this.
Yeah, you get into a little sort of what looks like a little capsule and you bike with... You have some pedals to do some biking and you go as fast as you can around this track. It's just a really...
this big like swing? Was it a swoop or something?
The swoop, which is a giant swing, which is actually... That's probably the most scariest thing there. You do even like maybe just a couple of seconds of free falling, and then finally the swing just swoops you super far away. That was really insane. And just sort of the way they position you is like you are on your stomach, so it feels like you are flying through the air like Superman. That's really fun as well. But also in Rotorua, they do whitewater rafting. They have a whitewater rafting river there, which is the highest commercially rafted river in the world at 7 meters. And you can also go and do sort of helicopter flights to a nearby volcano, which is pretty awesome as well. So yeah, that's a Rotorua.
All right, and then next I'm gonna have something around here and around there. So right here, it's just more adventure than adrenaline right here, but it's really fun adventure. You can drive the Forgotten World Highway. It's really fun. It's just a really awesome road to drive. Check out the video. It's a place where no one drives. The road is tiny. You are going in the middle of literally Jurassic style landscape. It's quite epic. You think that seriously a dinosaur is going to get out and start trying to eat you straight away. It's just absolutely
Your
epic.
imagination was going wild on that journey.
Yeah. And then you keep on driving along this coastline right here, and then make your way down to Wellington. And while driving along this coastline, it's called the Surf Highway, and there is some amount of surf spots right here, so you can go surfing, and then it's pretty epic. That's for the North Island. That's five spots. I did cheat a little bit and give you a little bit more.
Someone just mentioned on the live chat about the Waitomo Caves, which, yes, that's another definitely a must do as well.
That's around here.
Yeah, so Waitomo Caves, you can go and do some caving in there, which is really cool. You get your wetsuit on and you have some inflatable rubber rings, and you sort of do some, just floating through a cave network, a bit of scrambling, climbing up waterfalls, abseiling. So that's definitely an awesome adventure activity to do as well.
Yeah, and we have like so many videos about the Waitomo Caves. You can definitely check out which tour is your kind of favorite kind of tour to do. But it's definitely unmissable. You definitely have to check it out.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the South Island. Adventure activities. Should I get started? I get started.
Yeah.
Up right here.
Is it high enough, the map?
Yeah, I think it is, yeah. Up here, there's another one right here, and there's one around here. So that's 1, 2, 3 glacier. There is Mount Cook here, where you can do a walk on the Tasman Glacier, New Zealand's longest glacier. There is Franz Josef Glacier right here, where you can do a walk there, and there is Fox Glacier. Now, get yourself on a helicopter, go do a glacier hike. That's epicness adventure. Just getting out of a helicopter on top of a glacier makes you feel like an action star. So definitely adventure activities. One of those three, all three of them are awesome, but definitely.
Yeah, okay. I think the most obvious adventure place to go to in New Zealand, because it's nicknamed the adventure capital, is Queenstown. And as Y2J is saying right now on the live chat that the glaciers are meant to be slightly higher, this is definitely not to scale. Let's just sort of get this straight. This is not to scale. This is definitely not where the Tongariro is maybe a little bit lower, for instance.
Oh my God.
So just so you know, like, we are very well aware that this is not to scale.
There's crazy Robin bashing happening right now.
So anyway, Queenstown, you can do just about any adventure activity there that you can think of. You can do bungee jumping, skydiving, canyoning, whitewater rafting, jet boating, giant swinging. That's not any crazy parties or anything, just like a giant swing in a canyon. You can do, what else is there? There's going to be more. There's
it's safari, four-wheel driving,
four-wheel drive safari, or quad biking. You can do paragliding. You can do parasailing. You can do
the luge. The luge is quite
the
cool.
luge. You can do skiing and snowboarding. You can do
quite a lot, in short.
Yeah, so anything off that list that you want to do, Queenstown can do that.
All right. Then I'm going to go right. Geraldine.
Maybe around here.
I think it's around here more. Okay, here you go. Rangitata rafting, one of the best whitewater rafting to do in the country. It's absolutely epic. The sceneries are fantastic. The rapids are raging. It is definitely a ton of fun. Honestly, favorite whitewater rafting to do in the whole country. Really phenomenal. Check out the video of it. We love it. Again, everything we're talking to you about, even each of the glacier, we've done all of them. So you can check out all those videos and choose which one is your favorite. But yeah, here you go. That's my number 2 here.
Right.
Whitewater rafting, Rangitata River.
Oh, I kind of want to go back to Franz Josef because of the skydiving there.
All right.
Maybe I'll just mention it. So we already circled Fox Glacier and Franz Josef Glacier, but also there as well, you could do skydiving, which in my humblest of opinions, I think are some of the best skydiving in New Zealand, just because the views you get are so incredible. You get to see all the glaciers, and you actually get to see the Southern Alps of the South Island and the coast of the island as well, which is always really cool. So I just wanted to slip that in, like skydiving over there is really awesome.
All right, for my next one, I'm going to go right here in Abel Tasman National Park, and I'm going to talk to you about canyoning. Canyoning is really epic. You get yourself into a wetsuit, and then you basically make your way through narrow canyons, jump from waterfall, and keep following basically a river streams from the beginning to the end. It's really awesome, and there's an epic tour right here where you could do some epic Abel Tasman, canyoning in Abel Tasman. Now, I'm not even going to ask Laura. I'm already going to do the dot right here.
For Kaikoura?
There is only, so I'm not even asking. I know she's going there. So
yeah.
What's your next one, Laura?
Yeah, so it looks like my next one is Kaikoura, but I suppose I would choose that myself anyway. So over there, it's like a wildlife mecca. You can see whales there all year round. You can see dolphins. You can swim with seals, which is really cool.
And you can swim with dolphins as well. That is adventure. That's really epic.
And you can also go on boat tours to see like huge albatross, which I think the albatross tours are always overlooked because people are like, birds, whatever, I want to see a dolphin. But honestly, when you actually go and see these albatross, they're amazing. They're huge and they're just like, you can't believe birds like this exist. Anyway, all those sort of like, I say the most adventurous sort of activities to do there are the swimming with seals and the swimming with dolphins, just because, you're getting in the water with those wild animals in their element and they come and check you out because they're usually really curious. So that's definitely the more adventurous sort of thing to do there, I think.
Here you go, Jennifer. You see, that is 5 here, 5 there. We did cheat and give you a few extra ones here and there.
Yeah.
We also changed the map halfway through just to make sure it was more accurate, because apparently I wasn't accurate enough. But yeah, so I hope that this helps you plan your 3-week trip. If you do have any extra questions, make sure to put them in the comments of this video and any of our videos, and we'll pick them up for our next live session. And also, if you find this video useful, just hit the likes button. It's really a great way to say thank you for all our hard work. And also, if you're new here, subscribe. We do those kind of videos all the time. We help you plan your whole trip. It's awesome. It's epic. It's so easy. Here you go.
Indeed.
All right, let's go back to the live chat.
Can you give me a scrubber?
For sure. Here you go, scrubber. Okay, what is happening? Brian says he's going to binge watch all our videos about food on your channel. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, just checking them out. You're going to see us salivating for a ton. Y2J say that they mentioned Rotura and Zorb and Velocity Valley. You were right for Velocity Valley. Zorb is now called Ogo, by the way.
Yeah. Now he says Zorb is called Ogo.
Oh, yeah. Magda says, is Waitomo Caves really admissible to do? Yeah, it's really awesome. There's a lot of really amazing tours. Check out a company called Waitomo Adventures. They do some really awesome tours and they're slightly bit cheaper and you're going to love them. So Waitomo Adventures. YTJ said, don't let you take photo in the glowworm caves. Yeah, that's true. You won't be able to take some photos. Those glaciers too low. Everybody's mocking my glaciers. Y2J was talking about rafting in Murchison. Yes, there's some whitewater rafting in Murchison, but there's also some in Queenstown. There's quite a lot of whitewater rafting. I think the Rangitata one is definitely, for me
the most adrenaline-rushing one. Yeah. It's scary. I'm not even sure if I would do it again.
I loved it. I want to do it every day. If I could be a guide there, that'd be so good.
I actually think that was probably less scary than is it the Wairoa one?
Oh, yeah.
The grade 5 one? There's one near Tauranga, which is only open when they have a dam. So they only open it recreationally about 6 times during summer. And you could do grade 5 whitewater rafting on there. But oh my God, that was scary. That's a scary one to do. They tell you all the ways things can go wrong before you do the actual rapid yourself, and just gets your imagination sort of running a little bit too much before plunging to maybe your death. I don't know, it's scary.
I like whitewater rafting. It doesn't matter. Y2J says Kaikoura activities, swimming with seals and dolphins. Yeah, both of them are pretty epic. Kaikoura charter fishing is good too. You can come back with some crayfish.
I'm guessing you did this recently. You seem to be very much wanting to talk about the crayfish. Yeah. So that must be fresh in your mind.
Fresh crayfish indeed. Oh, Jennifer Alice says, thanks, guys. Can't wait to get started planning. Your videos have made planning so much easier. Got yourself a new subscribers.
Woo! Yay! Thank you, Jennifer.
But yeah, the goal is to actually help you plan your trip. So if you do have any question, if you get into the planning process and kind of want to check in with us and everything, just give us some context. When you give us some So some questions and everything, give us as much context as you can, and we're super happy to help. Look at Amber Jade Harding. She's been asking us questions for like 3 weeks in a row now. And I'm pretty sure we are a big part of planning her trip. I don't know, just say it in the comments, Amber, if you're still watching. But yeah, we do like to help. That's what we do here. Adriana Camino says, can't wait to do the Nevis bungee. Thanks for the info. Oh my God, you're crazy.
That's a toughie.
If you make a video about it, if you buy the video or something, just make sure you send it to us. It's actually one where I've been to the Nevis place and everything, but I haven't done the bungee. If you want to see a video about bungee in Queenstown, we actually done the other one, which is called the Ledge.
Yeah.
And yeah, you'll see how I fare. It's definitely a video very much worth watching if you think that I'm a confident and fun, talkative person. Just type bungee and then NZ Pocket Guide. Just type that on YouTube and just have yourself a good laugh. It's an interesting video.
Yeah.
Y2J say, I suspect in the future the White Island tour will be changed to water or air only, i.e. from boats or place can't go on the island anymore. I think that's what will happen in the future. Yeah, maybe. Again, we are, this is not our job to make policies, so I don't know what they're going to come up with. And as soon as we know, we'll put it on the site, that's for sure, on nzpocketguide.com. Vishal Panchal says, traveling with a 6-month baby starting a trip in Auckland, definitely check it out, Hobbiton. After Hobbiton, will you go to Rotorua for 2 days or go to Taranaki? If you're traveling with a 6-month baby, you're probably going to want to go to Rotorua when you will be doing a lot of like shorter activities. Taranaki is more known for like a bit longer walks and those kind of things that I don't think the 6-month baby will really enjoy itself so much. So I will divert from Hobbiton straight away to Rotorua rather than going to Taranaki.
Yeah.
Y2G agrees, says Taranaki. Eventually, we'll end up in Wellington. Well, if you do, make sure to rewind these videos and check out all the places that we suggest between the Tongariro National Park and Wellington. We just talked about all the different spots where you can stop at. And Brian says, love you guys, plenty of hearts. That's really nice. Yusuf Salala says, which place in New Zealand you consider best accessible to watch the aurora? So the aurora are the southern lights. Yeah. Laura, what are like 3 places to watch them?
Probably one of the most accessible places, because usually the best places are to go, high into the mountains, which aren't always very accessible. But yeah, probably one of the most accessible places would be the Otago Peninsula, which is near Dunedin. There's a lot of inlets and stuff around there, which is sort of sheltered, kind of away from light pollution. So that has some amazing Aurora Australis viewings when the conditions are obviously right.
What about the Mount John Observatory?
Yeah, so in Lake Tekapo, this is a dark sky reserve, meaning it's one of the best places in the world to do stargazing. And as well as that, also see the Southern Lights. So again, when the conditions are right for the Southern Lights, because they do really require very specific conditions to be seen in New Zealand, Mount John Observatory in Lake Tekapo is a #1 place to go. But finally, I would also go to Stewart Island.
Don't know if that's super accessible, but
it's accessible enough.
They have ferries every day, so yeah, it's accessible.
Yeah, so Stewart Island is the southernmost, one of the southernmost places you can really get to in New Zealand. Obviously, New Zealand does own some subantarctic islands, but we're not talking about that. But in Stewart Island,
too long of a swim.
Yeah, in Stewart Island, you can go and amazing stargazing there because it's just so far away from everything. And again, Southern Lights is pretty awesome there as well when the conditions are right.
There you go. All right, guys, thank you very much for joining us. Oh, by the way, we have literally a guide for the Aurora Australis and the Southern Lights on nzpocketguide.com, Yusuf. So check it out. We actually tell you everything about when to watch them. Anyway, this helps us wrap our video. Thank you so much, all of you guys, for joining us. Merry Christmas to all of you. Ho, ho, ho. Hoping that you're having an awesome trip in New Zealand. Wow, that was so cheesy. Anyway, we will be back here next week at 8 a.m. New Zealand time on Sunday, which is Saturday on most places around the world. That is Saturday at 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. depending if you're in France or in the UK. In the USA, 3 p.m. EST and 12 p.m. PST. In India, it's on Sunday at 12:30 a.m. And in Australia, it's 6 a.m. on Sunday, bright and early, We'll see you next week again. Have an awesome holiday, and yeah, keep on traveling awesome. And if you are watching this video and didn't get your question answered, we're very sorry. Put it in the comments of any of our videos and we'll pick it up next week. Bye-bye.